Right. So I think the concern here is that under Section 215 of the Patriot Act, which we have flyers on, but apparently does not specifically cover this issue, is being increasingly used to collect a broader and broader variety of information types. Unfortunately, I just don't have an answer for you. I don't have expertise in this area. It's something to be concerned about and to keep in mind as we push forward. And Obama presented this metadata, this false metadata sort of fix, but increasingly stuff like financial records, health records, programs like PRISM and Expo are getting lost in the conversation. So keep all of these in mind. Yeah. And all right, can we get another question, please? Sir.
Q&A session for bar, probably not the best idea.
Basically, for the user is what the ultimate goal for any encryption technology, any secrecy technology should be. It should be dummy-proof. It should always be safe and secure. And that's unfortunately not where the majority of the technology is. It's a little bit of setup, it's a little bit of knowledge. And that's pretty much where we're going. Mind you, you mentioned things like code, outside services, and a lot of stuff. Just what they say regarding clouds, your data is stored on the server, so make sure the data is stored encrypted on the server, and not just encrypted between users.
Great. Okay. I see two hands up, so I think we'll go to those and then we'll call it a meeting. Sir, please. Can you repeat the second part for me? The bill does not outline suing the federal government on like an individual citizen's standpoint. Like that would be the same whether the bill is passed or not. And I just really wouldn't recommend suing the federal government. I don't know, but I mean the other question that he asked was the enforcement measures in the bill, SB 828. Some bills like this around the country have clauses in there outlining misdemeanors or felonies for the local law enforcement who go along with the federal government on this. And I'm hoping that California's bill will reflect the same enforcement through the amendment process. But right now, the language is pretty tight, but there's no line that says like or else. You know what I mean? There's no line in the bill that says or else you're guilty of a misdemeanor or else you're guilty of a felony or something. So the punishment would have to come about in some other way. But that's something that we should get to, not only ultimately treating criminals in uniform as we do other criminals, but ultimately treating the federal government the same way too. So that's something that we're still working on, and politically to get these things through. Sometimes those things raise red alarms. There are some groups that will come together on a coalition and agree on the 99% of the bill. But as we originally had the idea this past year for the indefinite detention bill, that originally had penalties in it, and it got wiped out in the coalition meeting because some groups are really against imprisonment and things like that. So it could fluctuate. In the amendment process, we'll see. I would wait and see on that, and the enforceability comes about in some ancillary way, not inside the bill. It's not in the bill right now, but there are some bills around the country that do have these enforcement measures that you're talking about.
I won't add much to that, but I will say that we do have a flyer on the table that probably doesn't specifically answer your question, but at least speaks somewhat to what the bill was supposed to make law. I did see. Okay. Yeah. We'll do these last three questions and then we'll be done. If need bounce, need bounce. Want to grab a beer? Grab a beer. But whoever had their hand up back here also, pen, please.
Big game a little bit too broad, but a lot of the same things about questions about internet privacy and data that you said that a lot of computers have been access to third parties. And I was wondering if this legislation, there's any other legislation that kind of takes a step back on the broader picture of not specifically the NSA, but like from that sets our data private as a default, also for marketers and companies that are kind of using all this data. We're so worried about the NSA, we don't realize when we overuse it. That like it's not just the NSA, like this is our data being used for all sorts of purposes. It seems like if we're anyways putting in an effort about to think about this and to think about so the question is there anything like that in this legislation that also is being talked about? And if not, what is the legislation? What's being done about it?
Dave might know a little bit about this. I don't even know about the legislation, but I will say there are ways to start avoiding these companies. You know, I think prisonbreak.org, they basically provide alternatives to search, alternatives to email services, alternatives to networking sites that can use effectively the way Microsoft has used.
Doing the idea of forward seriously, a lot of text and reactions online, but when you do these comments and information towards security documents, things like that, it protects you a little bit, probably not necessarily sure but the question was about
Well, it just seems that, like, and obviously the people who are here kind of realize to some degree, I've done some of these, but I'm not executive, and I don't understand half of these things. But it just seems weird that I have to go through all of this effort to try to hide this data from all these people, and they're protected. Or at least we should talk about the fact that maybe by default these people are private.
You got some of us like coupons for shoes. So the bill doesn't incriminate like AdSense or Google Ads or things like we were talking about, but it does. I